Hey there. I'm going to talk about gaming audio today and just what an absolute can of worms that is. Specifically, after clicking a few links about a year ago, I discovered that, there might be a holy grail of gaming audio if I just spent enough money. And it led me down the path of tons of research and finding thread after thread of absolutely buy this to don't buy that same thing, and lots of ambiguity and lots of just rabbit holes of content. And so really what I was just looking for was like, how do I get the best positional audio and FPSs? How do I hear footsteps better? Simple things like that. And then it turned into sort of an obsession. And without having a clear path, I thought it'd be way easier for folks if I just talked about my path, so maybe you don't go down some of the same rabbit holes I do. Here's what I tried. Before this journey, I was rocking a pair of SteelSeries Arctic Nova Pro wireless headphones. I like them, but then I decided to do a deeper dive and see what was out there. So I dived into testing everything from sort of top-tier audiophile headphones to the sub-$1,000, rocking above their price range headphones, a whole orchestra of DACs, amps, tubes, so many tubes. My journey was a mix of excitement and lots of spreadsheets, because I love spreadsheets and geeking out on that sort of thing, right? To try to figure out like what is really good and bad for me personally, not necessarily what are the specs of this or what's the difference from an oral perspective on these. So I was serious about finding out what I'd been missing. The chase for best gear is never ending with enthusiasts, right? And it's like that with different types of enthusiasts. I'm like that. You try to find new and different things and you do research and it's fun, but it's not necessarily finding like in-game or something you can like live with for a few years. It's about finding, the best new thing. And so while that's fun for some hobbies and gear, for audiophile stuff, it's so expensive. And so hopefully what I went through can clarify that journey a bit for you. What started for me as looking for gaming headphones quickly morphed into finding the best headphones for music, period, which was not what I went in for. And so it sort of changed the way I thought about things for better and for worse. A few items came out as winners in my head, right? One, the ZMF Aeolus. They're handcrafted, they're beautiful. They're not going to boost your KD, but folk music, 70s rock, they sound amazing. They're built with a certain character and vocals sound amazing. They don't claim to be neutral, right? There's the ZMF house sound, and so ZMF doesn't necessarily have tiers of headphones based on price. They're each different sound signatures, right? So just because you buy a less expensive one, you're still talking something that is going to sound a different way on the anatomy of your ear. So these I found lovely. I ran them through tubes, sounded great, which I didn't really experience with anything else. And so these are just a beautiful headphone. The one that sort of landed as my daily driver at the time were the Focal Clears. They're less than $1,000. You can find them way cheaper used. And for me, when you're thinking about like rock and roll and hard rock, they do an amazing job. They also don't give you a neutral sound. I don't want a neutral sound, really. Sort of pump up the bass a little bit and make it so it's less, it sounds less like bass and more of like the rumble, right? So you feel it more than hear it. They're meant to, sound good to neophytes like myself, I guess. But I mean, to be fair, audiophiles love them. So highly recommend those as well. And then the package I used to drive these was the RME ADI2 FS DAC and amp combo. It's one stop. It does everything. It's got a great DAC. It could power the 300 ohm ZMFs. It could power my desktop speakers, and everything sounded great. And there was like zero like extra noise in anything I listened to. So despite the high-end setup, I found myself sticking to one pair though. This was sort of like, even for gaming, I didn't switch up for different genres of music, and I didn't even switch up going from gaming to listening to music. So initially I thought, I'm going to have different pairs for different things, and that just wasn't my reality. And so the sort of epiphany was that supreme audio clarity and quality wasn't really what I was after. And sort of there were some other practical things that were more important. So that was the first light bulb that went off. after this audio track, I've come full circle, right? Appreciating the Still series way more than I did the first time around. Yeah, there's certainly newer gaming-focused headsets, but these, to me, really excel in versatility and quality, and I don't think there's competition in this price range. So do they justify a $350 price tag? Absolutely. I mean, maybe if they add some lambskin to it, then they probably justify a $1,500 price tag. But regardless, I think that, hopefully if you hear my journey, you won't go on a similar one. I think that, while the journey was insightful and I learned stuff, it was also costly, annoying to go through top 5 lists upon tier lists upon really knowing what you're going to get until you get it in your hands. And then just understanding that when you get in your hands, it's a totally different experience. And so the words folks use to describe the hearing experience is something that's very personal and something you need to experience. And so that's why I sort of bought all this stuff to try it. So yeah, thanks for sticking around. There's not going to be any top 5 lists for me. No tier lists. Just my experiences and advice. So I'll keep sharing gear and hoping to simplify yours. Stay tuned for more. And thanks for listening.